So, hello, everyone. We have a very special guest today. We have Dr. Isabelle Amigues. Amik, my apologies for messing your name up today. But Dr. Isabelle Amigues, she is a rheumatologist. She's based in Denver, Colorado, and she honed her expertise where she studied in Paris, as well as Columbia University in New York City. At age 40, she was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. I'm sure that was devastating. And during that time, she had a timely meeting with a non traditional trained practitioner who taught her a different approach to disease than she had learned in her training. And she experienced the power of meditation, visualization, energy healing, and love. Her journey through her cancer inspired her to learn more about these alternative techniques. And now in her practice, which she's founder of Unabridged MD, which is a rheumatology based practice where she's able to blend the Western medicine and Eastern techniques into her practice. So she took that devastating diagnosis and was able to move forward with joy in her career and her life, and also open her own practice where she's able to care for others in a way that's more comprehensive and brings joy to her patients' lives. So I thought she would be a great guest to have on our podcast. So thank you so much for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So we start with a brief warm up. It's called mind meld or convergence, where I'll say the first thing on our mind, so we'll count to three, like 1, 2, 3. And then on three, you say the first word on your mind. Like, don't think about it too much. And we'll try to see if we get to the same word, like something that connects the two. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Red.
Concert.
Red and red and concert. Okay. Red and concert. Mhm. You have something, another word that connects those two?
Red Rocks.
Oh, okay. We have to say at the same time. Red Rocks?
Yeah, you
Oh,
can see concerts at Red Rocks, which is
oh,
my favorite venue in Colorado. Yeah.
oh, nice, nice. Okay, so let's try one more time. We'll say something, but try to keep it broad and not too specific so that we can both get to the same word. So concert, red and concert. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Rock and roll.
Fun.
Fun. Fun and rock and roll. All right. Fun and rock and roll. I think, okay, you have another word in mind that connects kind of the two? I have one. Let's see if we get both on the same page. Just
Okay.
grab it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Dancing.
Oh, we did it.
Dancing. Awesome. Yeah, so we're on the same page. That's great. So I really want to talk to you about your practice. Can you share with our listeners some type of pivotal moment or experience that led you to blend the Eastern techniques with your experience in rheumatology? Like how, and give me an example of how you've been able to use that to help your patients.
Well, I think since your audience is a lot of physicians, I think I'm going to
Mhm.
share the fact that it's not necessarily easy to bring the Eastern approach as a physician because very often feel like, oh, I've been trained in all of this Western medicine and evidence-based medicine, and I used to do a lot of research.
Mhm.
And suddenly you're like, well, let me offer something different.
Mhm.
And so at first I was feeling a little bit like, oh, this is not really my place. And then I started using it for myself. And
Mhm.
then I started studying it. And the truth is that what I have found for patients where it helps almost like the most
Mhm.
is when someone has many side effects
Mhm.
of their different medications that we try for them. Somehow I find that just kind of going a little bit deeper into what do you think this condition is here to teach you? What has this brought to you that can be potentially positive? If I go deep, it's not me. If the patient goes deep,
Mhm.
very often there is a pivotal moment. And then the next medication we try, they actually are able to tolerate it, and usually they are responding to treatment.
Mm,
So
mhm,
I think to me that is pivotal. That's really like a cool thing, a cool tool in my toolbox, so that I get my patients to remission, because that's really the goal in rheumatology. So yeah, that's how, thinking about this, it's really one of the things that has changed my practice, basically. Just
mhm,
going really holistically and really asking people, like, what do you think this has brought to you that's positive?
mhm. I
Mhm.
love that. And actually, and you're also taking having the patients go deep themselves, right? Because it's within themselves to get that healing and to understand what's going on. And of course, we have medication and you have treatments that can help, but it's a journey that we're kind of guides as physicians as far because we can't go on the journey necessarily the whole journey with them, but you're helping them along the way to come to terms and to come with that realization of, wait, how can I find joy with this? How
Wow.
can I handle this? So I love that. So my next question for you is, I know you went through a devastating diagnosis.
I don't like this word at all.
At first, I mean, at first, maybe
No,
when you first, okay,
no.
okay, okay. So tell me, how did the diagnosis, what did you
I
think of it first time? Let's replace that word and you tell me
Yeah,
what word you would say.
like, I think it was of earth-shattering diagnosis.
Earth-shattering, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think it was devastating, because it would put me in a position of victim, and I
Okay.
never felt in this position of victim. It's funny how words have taken such an importance. Like, since I've been a patient, words
Mhm,
matter so much
mhm,
more than they ever have, as a
mhm,
physician and as a patient, because I really think that they carry a lot.
mm,
Oh, I'm
mhm.
sorry, I was just like,
No, no, I like that you corrected
I
me.
don't like this
Yeah,
word.
yeah, I like that you corrected me because it the way I pictured it is maybe it was devastating when you first heard it, but of course you didn't let it devastate you. You
Yeah,
turned it around.
exactly. Yeah,
But
exactly
but
right.
I see like, it could be it just kind of yeah, because it's not that it didn't
I guess the
yeah.
problem with devastation is that, to me, I don't know, it's like, at least
No,
in
tell me. Uh-huh.
French, the problem with devastation is that there is nothing left,
Mm,
right?
okay.
And so you cannot grow stuff from whatever is left. So yeah, it is. I think that all words are different. I'm French,
Mhm,
so of course that's not my first language,
mhm.
but like devastating just feels so hopeless, when
Mm.
really there's so much hope in every, like, almost every single disease we may have.
And I
Um,
love that you say that.
mhm.
Yeah, I love that you correct me and say that because, I don't, I say that it was, I meant it like it was temporarily devastating. I know you're not devastated and
Yeah,
that you're a
yeah,
joyous, happy person and you have a full life and a full
yeah,
practice. But to someone else, it could be
totally,
devastating, right?
totally,
It could
totally.
be like if someone else had gotten that news, if someone in our audience had had that news, it could be devastating in the moment. We hope that it wouldn't continue to be devastating, right? But it could be but definitely earth shattering or life changing, of
Life-changing, I
definitely
think life-changing is big.
life-changing diagnosis. Yeah, life-changing diagnosis, but we hope that it does not become devastating, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we hope that it does not yeah, it does not stay. It's temporary.
yeah.
Temporary,
It's
definitely.
really funny. It's really, really interesting how words matter, and the frame that you use matter. And that's, right, like, that's why you and I enjoy and, like, are doing this, because we
Mhm,
know how much they matter.
mhm.
Uh, so yeah, it's just like, I was just like, all right, I need to tell you.
Oh, tell me, please. Thank you. And it's helpful for everyone listening too, because they do matter. And that's a common, like, I think it's just common in English. We say that whenever there's a diagnosis, especially
Oh,
as far as a cancer diagnosis, but we don't think too much as far as what devastating actually means.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just something that we say, just so something that we say in relation to
got
a,
it. Okay.
a diagnosis such as, yeah.
Makes sense. Makes
Mhm.
total sense.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question for you, because to lead into, we know that you're not devastated, that it was earth shattering, but you were able to pick up the pieces and grow in different ways to have more joy in your life, to create a career that you love, to take care of your family in ways that you love. Tell us what strategies or techniques that you do on a maybe daily basis to foster joy within your life and that you've learned through that process.
Well, to foster joy, that's such a cool question, right? Because I don't think we are really good at thinking, oh, how am I going to have joy today?
Mhm.
That's a really cool question. I don't know that I am really thinking of joy in my life,
Mhm.
which I should. Not that I'm not joyful. I am
Mhm.
very joyful. I really love my life, but it is really interesting. It's an interesting question how to sparkle joy in your life and the lives of others, right? I can tell you how I keep optimistic and
Mhm.
positive outcome, which I think leads to joy ultimately.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, as someone that has gone through stage 4 breast cancer and that still has to do like a lot of tests and follow ups and all this, I don't take myself too seriously and I don't take my body too seriously. And I try not to take my meetings with my physicians too seriously. So I was just joking with my OBGYN onc because I had to have my ovaries removed because I have the BRCA gene. And
Mhm.
it was really cool because we were just laughing. We were just like joking about, what it can do for our body. And instead of just taking it, I mean, I think, just laughing is just so good for you.
Mhm.
And, I mean, life is not that serious actually when you
Mhm.
think about it, right? Like we all know we're going to end up then at one point or the other. And so until then, it's more fun to have fun, to have joy. Couple of things that I do to not go and despair. So I would say, I sound very light right now, but if you were to, talk to me a couple of days or a week before my next PET scan, I probably would be really stressed out. And one of the ways that I have found to be good for me is to not, get overwhelmed by the stress, is
Mhm.
to just remind myself why I do those things, right? And it's that yeah, I have the choice. I don't have to do them and
Mhm.
that as a physician, I know why I do them. It's just as a person, as a patient, it's a little harder because as a
Mhm.
physician, it's like, oh yeah, of course, do the test. Like that makes sense. It's a data point, and then
Mhm.
we can act upon whatever we find. As a patient, it means so much more. And so I was wondering why. Why does it mean so much more when really like the doctor is who has to deal with it, right?
Mhm.
Ultimately. And so I think one of the ways that I've found to kind of reassure myself has been to let it sit down and to say, yes, it is stressful. And yes, I don't have to do it. And yes, it is useful. And we will deal with whatever result there is. And
Mhm.
right now, right here, I have no symptom whatsoever. I feel
Mhm.
great and my life is great. And I'm going to continue, as if immortality was the thing. And that's what's so intriguing about life, right? Like you have to live like you have an immortality.
Mhm.
And at the same time, we all know we are mortals, right? And so I think that's something that's been, something that I'm definitely working
Mhm.
on. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely agree that. So I see that you have a sense of kind of like mindfulness is being in the present moment, kind of like bringing yourself back to the present. Like I'm not going to think about what the results of this may be. I'm going to just, I'm fine now. I feel good. Let's get the imaging done and let my doctor deal with it. And if
Yeah.
anything, they can call me, they'll let me know, but I'm not going to let it steal my joy. I'm not going to
Yeah.
let yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that other thought about, living as if we're immortal, that's deep. It's very deep conversation. Like we could probably philosophize about that for a while, thinking because we are more than flesh, right? All of us are more than flesh. And we don't, so yeah, we are immortal beings, but we're in a flesh at this time and we don't know. So of course different beliefs, everybody has different belief systems, but Right, but in a lot of belief systems, we're more than our bodies. We have our
Yeah,
bodies temporarily, but we know we're so much more.
yeah.
So just reminding ourselves that we're so much more. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So thank you so much for this conversation. This was great. I have a couple of wrap-up questions for you, Dr. Isabel. Who is a model of joy for you in your life? Like if you see someone that's so joyful that you would want to be like them, who would that be? It could be a family member, it could be a celebrity, it could be your kids, anybody that you can think of.
It's funny, and I think you had asked me this question as a pre-question, and I had scratched my head because I think it's not one person
Mhm,
particularly, it's just moments, right?
mhm,
Um, like right now, one of my friend is just, and I know she's not always joyful, but
mhm,
she has this joy that comes in when we are watching a concert that is just so nice to be around.
mhm,
And so I love surrounding myself with people like this. At the same time, I also know that it's not constant, right? Then there are people who are very mindful and can find joy in everything. And so I think kids very often are in the moment, small kids. The funny part is that my kids are not necessarily super joyful, but for example, my nephew and my nieces, they are. Or
mhm,
maybe it's because I'm a mom and I don't see it the same way.
mhm,
But yeah, like, I was DJing a party at my kids' school,
mhm,
one of the party, like, and it was so cute. I mean, like kids are in the moment. I mean,
mhm.
they are in the moment. They can go from super happy to like completely pissed off, but
Yeah.
in general, they have this moment of joy and they feel things and I think that that's really cool to see that again. And I think I don't want to say a celebrity because you never know, like you don't really
Mhm.
know what's
You
there,
don't
right?
know. Mhm.
Exactly. But yeah, I think those little moments of joy and friends and just sometimes like complete strangers that are clearly having such joyful moments. And it's just like, it's just so cool to watch. Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
seeing joy everywhere.
So y'all have to come back and talk about your DJing next
Oh,
on a
never
future
would
episode.
I.
Yeah. But
It's my new thing. I love it.
wonderful. Yes, wonderful. So the last question we have is if you were cooking a cake of joy, what would be your top three ingredients?
I think mindfulness is definitely a first one. Gratitude is another one. And
Mhm.
humor.
And humor. Awesome.
Humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you have to have humor in life, and
Mhm.
not that I'm very good at that, but I think that
Well,
people who have humor make me laugh, and I love that.
it's great. I mean, it sounds like you have all three of those. So yeah,
Depends on the day.
of course, of course.
But yeah, yeah.
So, thank you so much, Dr. Isabel. This has been a wonderful conversation. If our listeners were to reach out to you or contact you, they should visit your website, right? Which is www.unabridgedmd.com. They can also find you on YouTube, Unabridged MD. They can find you on Facebook with the same name and Twitter with Unabridged MD.
Instagram is probably where I'm the most active. Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to add anything else, doctor?
Yeah, if anyone is interested in rheumatology, I also have a YouTube channel called Rheumatology 101 by Dr. Isabelle Amigues, Amigues, where every Tuesday I come on and do a little live. And it's been fun, and some patients are asking me questions, which I think is always really fun to do.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's been great. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you back to talk about your DJing and other things that you're doing. So, thank you. That's the end of today's episode. You know how to reach us. Please share this episode with a friend and take care.